Hi guys, I'm back again today with another video, and today we're checking out why the Dutch King works as a pilot for KLM. Interesting. So, backstory. I don't know if you know if I told you guys this already, but my mom's favorite airline is KLM. I have no clue why, but before when I used to live in Ghana, and she was working in Japan, she would use KLM. So maybe that's why she grew fond of the airline. Don't know. I don't even know if they still do Japan Ghana KLM route. I'm not sure if it's still a thing, or maybe is it Emirates now, because I remember, well, I wasn't going to Japan, so maybe it's different. I was gonna say, because from Ghana to the Philippines we took Emirates. So maybe they don't. Maybe KLM, yeah, maybe KLM doesn't do Ghana to Philippines. So maybe that's why we didn't take it. Because I was like, why is your favorite? But we didn't fly KLM. Have I ever flown KLM though? I don't recall any time. So maybe not. But anyways, yeah, that's just a small story I wanted to share. But anyways, beautiful peeps, let's see. Because I'm also like, why? Before we do start, don't forget to subscribe, click the bell button. Let's begin.
This video was made possible by CuriosityStream. When you sign up at the link in the description, you'll also get access to Nebula, the streaming video platform that HAI is a part of. This is Willem-Alexander of the Netherlands. He's king of the 17.2 million bike-riding, windmill-building, stroopwafel-eating, clog-wearing people of the Netherlands, in addition to the 300,000 people of the Dutch Caribbean islands of Bonaire, St. Eustatius, Saba, Aruba, Curaçao, and St. Martin. Now, despite the fact that barely anyone outside the country even knows the Netherlands is a monarchy, the king is a pretty important job. Willem-Alexander is the head of state and has far-reaching powers into different branches of the Dutch government. In practice, though, sort of like the Queen of the UK, he largely stays out of politics. You see, the monarchy of the Netherlands is pretty low-key. In his youth, Willem-Alexander was known in the media as Prince Pils. That's Pils with one L in reference to his affinity for Pilsner beer, in addition to other large quantities of alcohol consumed during his time at the University of
Okay, thank you for the clarification because that can get really confusing. You're like, so he takes pills, he's addicted to pills, or what is the circumstance? But that makes sense.
for Pilsner beer, in addition to other large quantities of alcohol consumed during his time at the University of Leiden. Eventually, though, he graduated and got interested in the best beverage of all, water. Seriously, everything you read on him mentions his keen interest in water management, which sounds like an innuendo for bladder control, but it's actually not. Eventually, though, in 2013, his mom quit her job, and thanks to nepotism, he, of course, walked his way into the exact same position. They even threw this big party for him on his first day. Now King Willem-Alexander is known for his casual style of monarchy.
Okay, I thought that was Trump for a second. I'm so sorry.
He, of course, walked his way
Don't tell me. Maybe they're related, right? Or maybe it's just the hair and the smile and the eyes. Tell me I'm crazy, please, because why do they look alike?
into the exact same position. They even threw this big party for him on his first day. Now King Willem-Alexander is known for his casual style of monarchy. He never wears his crown, nobody calls him His Majesty, his daughters, who are princesses, go to public school, he has his own Instagram account, and he even turns his throne around and sits in it backwards in order to seem cool and approachable to the kids. Since long before his current job, though, Willem-Alexander has held another job, as an airline pilot. You see, back in 1985, slightly concerningly before being dubbed Prince Pils, he earned his private pilot's license, followed 2 years later by his commercial pilot's license. He first used this to work as a volunteer pilot for some organizations in Kenya, in addition to just recreational flying. He got his license to fly multi-engine jet aircraft in 1989, his military pilot's license in 1994, then in 2001, he got the crown jewel of pilot's licenses, the Airline Transport Pilot License. That's the license you need to fly big boy airplanes with passengers in the back, and so, soon after, Willem-Alexander started doing just that. Now, how or why exactly this arrangement started is a bit unclear, but sometime in the early 2000s, somehow, then Prince Willem Alexander strutted over to KLM and cashed in his I'm a Prince card to negotiate a deal to work for them as a part time pilot. This made sense for two reasons. One was that KLM's full name literally translates to Royal Aviation Company Incorporated, so having a little royal in the company, despite the fact that it was then and is now a fully private company, would keep it honest to its name. That way, they wouldn't have to switch to being called Aviation Company Incorporated. Two was that KLM operated the Dutch government airplane. At the time, it was a Fokker 70, which would be used by the royals or politicians to go where they needed to go, and so, once certified, Willem Alexander would regularly fly this airplane, especially when it was the royals using it. The hours of flying he got from this government airplane alone, though, weren't enough to maintain his pilot's license, so eventually he started flying regular passenger flights too. He worked for KLM Cityhopper, the airline subsidiary, flying the Fokker 70 to glamorous places all around the world, all around northwestern Europe, like Humberside, Darlington, and Norwich. Nobody really ever knew he was working as co-pilot for these flights, aside from the rest of the crew, as he would never introduce himself by name when making announcements, and, even in the airport, he was rarely recognized in his KLM uniform. He flew a few times a month all throughout the 2000s and continued to do so even after he became king. In 2017, though, he ran into a bit of a problem. KLM was retiring all their Fokker aircraft in favor of newer, more efficient Embraer jets, and these Fokkers were the only aircraft that the king was certified to fly commercially. This was an even bigger issue for the Dutch government, whose plane, the Fokker 70, could no longer be operated by KLM as they would no longer have pilots or mechanics for the plane. They therefore made the decision to buy a Boeing 737 business jet, which was better equipped for longer trips, which it turns out the Dutch have to do a lot to catch up with all the places they accidentally colonized back in the day. So, Willem Alexander made the decision to go through the long, expensive process of getting type rated for the 737 and, once done, started flying 737s for KLM. This would take him to much further flung destinations all around Europe and sometimes further. While it was always a sort of open secret, he revealed this side gig of his to the press in 2017, which resulted in quite a lot of attention. While he apparently flies about twice monthly, his last confirmed sighting was in late 2018 when he worked as a co-pilot on a KLM flight to and from Istanbul, or as the cool kids call it, Constantinople. Speaking of which, if you want to learn more cool kid words, it's not called the Battle of Normandy, it's called Operation Overlord, at least in the Allies' codename system. The logistics of landing a fighting force strong enough to take back Europe on a few French beaches were immense, but that's exactly what Brian from Real Engineering's new Nebula original is about, the logistics of D-Day. This is just one of many original series available on Nebula, which is, of course, the streaming site built by myself and plenty of other creators. Nebula is now available for free when you sign up for a subscription at CuriosityStream, the streaming site home to thousands of top-quality documentaries, nonfiction shows, and more. CuriosityStream has long been recognized as a top streaming site for those who love learning, and now the addition of Nebula with their subscription makes it a fantastic deal. By signing up for a yearly subscription at
Do we have more?
curiositystream.com/HAI, which is just $20, you'll also get a
Well, that's nothing. I thought there was gonna be more. Like they will do the ad, and then this is practically a 3 minute video because we had an ad in the beginning. Okay, maybe 4 minute video, and then now we have one at the end. Well, that is something different, right? I like how the Dutch king or the Dutch people in general are just so humble, because when you go to some places, a king status means squad, but they act as if like they're everything, right? They act as if they're high and mighty. But it was just like, hey, you know what? I have a passion for flying and I'm gonna do this. And I also need hours. So I'm just gonna fly commercially. And most people even know. But yeah, that's an interesting story. I probably will send it to my mom, and my mom will be like, "Oh, you know what? I've met him before." And I'm like, "This is what I'm assuming will happen." Okay, it didn't happen, but I'm assuming this is gonna happen because she has weird stories. She's like, "Oh yeah, I met him before. It's on, yeah, yeah," and I'm just gonna be like, "Okay." But anyways, beautiful peeps, thank you. And if you have any videos you want me to check out, let me know down in the comments, and I will see you in our next video. Bye.